Imagine having an unlimited budget to build, like, a tech company today.
I mean, that sounds like the ultimate dream for most people.
Right. But imagine having that money and being absolutely terrified to spend a single dollar of it.
Oh, yeah. That is the exact paralysis gripping IT leaders right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you are staring at this massive wave of artificial intelligence, and you know you have to catch it. But the velocity of the wave makes every single entry point feel like a spectacular way to wipe out.
It really does. It's the defining technological bottleneck of our moment.
Yeah.
You want to board the high-speed train, but the tracks are being laid down while the train is moving at like 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, and if you're a curious person navigating this landscape, and since you're listening to this deep dive, you obviously are, you've probably felt that tension yourself. Like, how do you invest your time or your energy, let alone massive corporate resources, into something that literally reinvents itself by breakfast every Tuesday?
You really can't. Not in the traditional way, at least.
Right. And today's deep dive is essentially a survival guide for that exact scenario. We are pulling apart a July 8th, 2026 AI News Daily Digest.
Which is summarizing a really pivotal piece from Technology Review.
Yes, and our mission today is to cut through all the generative AI hype and look at the actual plumbing. We're dissecting the nuts and bolts of AI architecture to uncover how organizations are actually surviving this hyper-fast tech landscape. Okay, let's unpack this. Because what we're looking at isn't a shiny new model or a magic algorithm. It's really a structural philosophy.
But structural philosophy is a really good way to frame it, because the core takeaway from the digest isn't about, what the technology does. It's about how a business actually houses it.
Yeah.
I mean, the organizations surviving the current AI boom aren't the ones recklessly adopting every single new tool. They are the ones fundamentally shifting how they construct their underlying technical environments.
Well, they're preparing for constant radical change. But before we get into how they construct those environments, we really have to look at the trap they're trying to avoid. The article talks about the remarkable pace of surging AI capabilities, right?
Yeah. It's unprecedented.
And how organizations are just desperately trying to expand their use cases to ride this wave. But the source material frames this as an IT leader's quandary, like a tightrope walk between embracing new advancements and ensuring stability.
Which is incredibly stressful for the people making those decisions.
Wait, so you're telling me businesses are practically tripping over themselves to adopt new AI use cases, but simultaneously terrified of actually buying into them?
That is exactly what's happening.
It's like trying to build a state-of-the-art smart home on top of a geological fault line. I mean, you want the voice-activated lighting, the automated climate control, the facial recognition security.
All the flashy stuff, yeah.
But the ground is going to shift tomorrow, crack the foundation, and make every single piece of that really expensive tech completely useless.
This raises an important question, though. Because why is this specific balance, this tightrope walk between embracing the new and maintaining stability so incredibly difficult right now compared to past tech booms?
Yeah, because we've survived major tech shifts before.
Right. We had cloud computing, the mobile transition.
So what makes this different?
The difference here, as the text points out, is the total compression of the adoption curve.
Meaning what, exactly? That there's just no time to plan?
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Think about the shift to cloud infrastructure. IT leaders could observe the market, spend, 2 years building out their environment, and then just gradually migrate over.
Okay, so it was a slower burn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the quandary the digest describes exists because the ground is shifting at the exact same moment you are trying to pour the concrete.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you lean too far towards stability and just wait to see who wins the AI model wars, you completely miss the wave and your competitors crush you.
But if you just bolt on every new AI tool that hits the market, you create what? A fragmented mess?
Oh, it's worse than a mess.
Yeah.
You create unscalable, brittle technical debt. I mean, if you hard-code a proprietary closed-source language model directly into your customer service application today, and then next month,
Let me guess, a better one comes out.
right, an open-source model drops that is twice as fast and a tenth of the cost. You can't just flip a switch to use the new one.
Ah, because you hard-coded the old one?
Exactly. You have to rip out the plumbing of your entire application just to make the change. Your entire system shatters.
So you're either paralyzed by caution or you're recklessly building a house of cards.
That's the reality for most IT teams right now.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the strategic pivot the technology review piece recommends is incredibly counterintuitive. We are dealing with artificial intelligence, which is, the most hyper-advanced futuristic technology on the planet.
Yeah, it's practically science fiction.
Right. And the article says the only way to survive it is to literally go back to basics. It says we have to focus on the foundational building blocks of our architecture. Just think about that paradox for a second.
It refers to those foundational elements as the bedrock for navigating the uncertainty of future developments.
Okay, but I want to pause on the metaphor here because bedrock sounds really great in a boardroom. It's a great buzzword.
Oh, for sure.
But what does that actually look like in the server room? If I'm an engineer, what is my bedrock? We aren't just talking about buying better servers, are we?
No, we're talking about abstraction and decoupling. What's fascinating here is how the source material essentially redefines future-proofing.
Okay, how so?
Well, grounding your strategies in solid architectural principles means separating the volatile, fast-moving parts of the technology from the stable, structural parts. In software engineering, this basically means using modular APIs and abstraction layers.
Okay, pretend I'm the business leader paying for this, not the engineer building it. Decoupling and abstraction layers mean what for my bottom line?
It means the AI model doesn't touch your front-end user interface. And it doesn't directly touch your core databases either.
So where does it go?
It sits in a modular container right in the middle. Think of it like a universal outlet adapter you use when you travel.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, if your application is built to communicate with an abstraction layer, which is sort of a digital middleman, rather than a specific branded AI model, you've created a bedrock.
Right, because the adapter stays the same even if the wall socket changes.
Exactly. So when the next generational leap in models drops, your developers just swap out the intelligence engine plugged into the back of the adapter. Your front-end app doesn't even know the difference.
And your user data pipelines don't break.
Precisely. You've mitigated the risk of rapid progression because the foundation itself didn't change, only the localized engine did.
Hang on, doesn't building all that middleman infrastructure, like the abstraction layers, the universal adapters, harmonizing all this data, doesn't that fundamentally slow an organization down?
It does require more upfront work, yes.
Because if the goal is to move fast in a booming market, isn't spending a year building bedrock the exact opposite of agility?
Well, that's the tension of the tightrope walk. Yes, it slows you down on day one, but what the digest is arguing is that if you don't build that bedrock, you might launch your first AI feature faster, sure.
But then what happens?
Your second, third, and fourth features will take exponentially longer because you are constantly untangling spaghetti code just to keep them running.
Well, that makes sense. You get bogged down in your own mess.
Exactly. By building the bedrock first, your capacity to adapt and grow in year 2 and year 3 becomes almost frictionless. You literally stop betting on which specific AI horse will win the race, and you just invest in owning the racetrack itself.
The racetrack strategy, I really like that. And the source material actually outlines 3 distinct properties this racetrack or this foundational architecture has to have.
Yes, the big 3.
Right. It must be scalable, it must be efficient, and it must be resilient. And the digest says hitting those 3 marks is what creates a robust infrastructure that can accommodate both current demands and future innovations seamlessly.
Which is a very dense way of saying it keeps you from crashing.
Let's translate that out of corporate speak. Think about building a custom PC. The temptation, especially if you're a gamer, is to blow your entire budget on the flashiest, most ridiculously powerful graphics card on the market.
Because that's what gives you the immediate visible result. You want the highest frame rates right now.
Right. It makes the game look incredible today. But that graphics card is going to be a complete brick in 18 months.
Without a doubt.
So if you instead take a huge chunk of that budget and buy a ridiculously powerful, top-of-the-line power supply and the absolute best motherboard on the market, well, it's not sexy.
No, nobody brags about their power supply.
Exactly. It doesn't boost your frame rates today. But if your infrastructure is robust, it doesn't matter what the next big leap in graphics technology is. You just pull the old card out, snap the new one in, and your system handles whatever you plug into it next.
I love that analogy. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of enterprise AI, the software and data side is far more complicated, of course.
Because data is messy.
Incredibly messy. Plugging in a new graphics card in the AI world means fundamentally altering how your proprietary data is formatted and retrieved. So let's map the digest's 3 traits, scalable, efficient, and resilient, onto that reality.
Let's do it. Start with scalable. In my PC analogy, the power supply can handle the extra wattage as you grow. In an AI data pipeline, what is actually scaling?
Vector databases and data pipelines. Because as the article notes, organizations are eagerly expanding their use cases, right?
Right.
That means moving from querying, say, a few hundred text documents to suddenly analyzing millions of multimodal files.
Hmm.
Video, audio, real-time customer telemetry.
That is a massive jump in data.
It is. So scalability means your Bedrock architecture can ingest, categorize, and serve that massive influx of data to the AI model without the retrieval times dropping from milliseconds to full minutes.
So it's about handling exponential data growth without hitting a performance cliff,
Exactly.
which bleeds right into the second trait, which is efficiency. Because if you just throw raw server compute at that data scaling problem, you're going to bankrupt the company.
Oh, completely. Why is AI so resource intensive? Well, when you do a standard database search, the computer is just retrieving indexed information.
Like looking up a word in a dictionary.
Right. But when you query a massive neural network, it is actively calculating mathematical probabilities across billions, sometimes trillions, of parameters in real time.
Trillions of parameters.
Yes, the compute required for that is just staggering. So if your architecture isn't efficient, meaning it doesn't cache common queries or it doesn't intelligently route simple tasks to smaller, cheaper models, your cloud provider bill will just destroy your profit margins.
So you have to reserve the massive models only for complex reasoning.
Exactly. Efficiency isn't just about speed, it's about optimizing resources so that as you scale, you aren't just scaling your financial waste.
So an efficient Bedrock acts like a traffic cop, routing the AI request to the cheapest, fastest tool that can do the specific job, rather than firing up a supercomputer every time someone just asks for a password reset.
That is a perfect translation. You don't need a supercomputer for a password reset.
Okay, so the third trait is resilience. The digest mentions mitigating risks and challenges. In the fault line analogy, this would be the shock absorbers. How is resilience actually engineered in software? You mentioned decoupling earlier, is that it?
Decoupling is the primary mechanism, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Resilience is the ability to survive those rapid tech shifts without experiencing a systemic failure.
So keeping the lights on.
Right. It means having fallback mechanisms built directly into the code. If the external AI API you rely on just goes down, or maybe the parent company shuts down access overnight.
Which happens all the time in this industry.
Exactly. Does your entire customer-facing app crash? A resilient Bedrock detects the failure and instantly reroutes the request to an internal backup model.
Oh, I see.
The response might be slightly lower quality, sure, but the system stays online. The shock absorber takes the hit, the foundation holds, and the user barely even notices there was a problem.
It totally reframes how you look at the speed of the industry. You stop trying to predict the future, which, good luck with that right now anyway.
Yeah, impossible.
And you start engineering for maximum adaptability instead. So rather than being victimized by the breakneck speed of these new model releases, you build a vessel that uses the rapids to move faster.
And that highlights a pretty brutal historical truth about technological revolutions.
What's that?
The organizations that dominate a decade after a major paradigm shift are rarely the ones that adopted the very first tools the fastest. They're the ones that built the internal capacity to absorb a constant stream of new tools without losing their operational balance.
Ah, they mastered the tightrope walk by widening the tightrope into a bridge.
I like that. Yes. It takes the IT leader completely out of the quandary. You no longer have to lose sleep questioning which specific AI investments will remain relevant tomorrow.
Because you aren't betting on the investments themselves.
Right. You have invested your capital into the single most relevant asset possible. A friction-free capacity to pivot.
So what does this all mean for us? Because we've gone pretty deep into the architectural weeds today looking at this technology review summary.
We definitely have.
But the core lesson here is actually incredibly democratic if you think about it. Whether you're an enterprise IT architect sitting in some glass boardroom stressing over a $50 million cloud budget, or you're just a curious professional trying to manage your own personal stack of AI tools without losing your mind.
The strategy is the exact same. The necessity of a Bedrock scales all the way down to the individual.
Exactly. Prioritize your foundation over the flashy, fleeting use cases. Ask yourself, what is your personal bedrock? How are you organizing your own files so that an AI can actually read them?
Are you relying on one single proprietary app for everything?
Right. Or are you keeping your core data portable so you can jump ship when a better tool inevitably comes along? If you get the nuts and bolts right, You really don't have to panic every time the AI landscape shifts.
Because your personal foundation is solid enough to accommodate whatever comes next seamlessly. It's really about maintaining your agency in a time of unprecedented rapid change.
Absolutely.
But, I do want to leave everyone with a thought experiment, something drawn directly from the logical extreme of everything we've unpacked from the source text today.
Ooh, okay. Lay it on us.
Well, the article notes that the next big leap is always just around the corner, right? And it advises building a solid, resilient bedrock to seamlessly accommodate it. But consider this paradox. If every organization, every IT leader, every developer actually follows this advice,
Okay, if everybody does it.
if the entire market perfectly future-proofs its foundations to seamlessly accept any future AI innovation without friction, does that massive, stable infrastructure actually accelerate the pace of AI evolution even further?
Wait, run that back. How would stability accelerate the chaos?
Think about the developers at the cutting edge of AI. Right now, one of the main friction points slowing down the rollout of new, massive AI capabilities is the fact that the market just can't absorb it yet.
Ah, because enterprise businesses are slow?
Right. Integration is incredibly hard. But if developers know that the market, the businesses, the consumers have built flawless, modular bedrocks that can instantly adopt whatever they create via universal APIs.
Then they are no longer constrained by those slow adoption cycles.
Exactly. The friction of implementation just vanishes. So by building this incredibly safe, resilient bedrock to protect ourselves from the breakneck speed of change.
Are we actually building the very launch pad that guarantees the technological landscape will shift 10 times faster tomorrow?
That's the question.
Oh, wow. That is wild. We build the infrastructure so well that we literally remove the speed bumps for the people driving the high-speed train. We make ourselves safe for the future, and in doing so, we drag the future here even faster. That is the ultimate paradox of future-proofing. It is something I'm definitely going to be chewing on for the rest of the day.
Me too.
And I really hope you out there listening will be mulling over that paradox as well. Because the one thing that is absolutely certain, as the digest reminds us, is that this landscape isn't slowing down anytime soon. You've got to keep interrogating it.
Keep questioning the complexities and never assume the underlying architecture is neutral.
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today into the architectural bedrock of our AI future. Stay curious, build a strong foundation, and as always, keep your tech-savvy hats on.